Hello everyone, my name is Bruce Malaudzi from Cape Town, South Africa. I'm doing my first year internship at Dimension Data here in Cape Town. I work as an associate security engineer, but I've always had passion in Red Hat Enterprise Linux. My qualifications include Cisco CCNA routing and switching, CompTIA Secret Plus, CompTIA Linux Plus, LPIC1, SUSE Linux Administrator, SUSE Linux Professional, Red Hat Certified Administrator, Red Hat Certified Engineer. In today's demonstration, I'll show you how to do some network services. This is a two-part video series. In part 1, I'll show you how to assign a host name to a new Linux machine. Then I'll show you how to configure the IP addresses, which is IPv4. Finally, I'll show you how to configure the YAM repository. In part 2 of the video series, I'll show you how to perform or to configure network teaming. Network bonding was used previously and it's an old technology. Bonding was replaced by teaming, which is much better and faster. So let's get started on our part 1 video. So in this demonstration, I will have 3 machines, but we'll primarily focus on 2 machines. And the first machine, we'll assign it the host name of test1.example.com. The second machine, I'll assign it test2.example.com. I will then assign the IPv4 addresses to those machines. We'll be using the subnet here, 192.168.15.0/24 subnet, and here are the IP addresses that we need to configure as well. Then I have my default gateway, which is the 192.168.15.1. Then I have my DNS server or the name server, which is 192.168.15.250. Then finally, I'll show you how to configure the YAM repository, which is FTP at ipaserver.example.com/pub/CentOS. In this demonstration, I'll be using JNS3, but if you're not quite familiar in using JNS3, you can use VMware, you can use VirtualBox, you can use KVM. Just make sure that all 3 machines are on the same network subnet so that they can communicate. And once you can do that, you don't need the default gateway. For now, we don't need the default gateway. We might use the default gateway when you want to interact with other devices on a different subnet or different network. But for now, the default gateway is not very important. So let's get started. On my JNS3 screen, I have already created the topology. So I've got the IPA server here, which is my DNS server, and this server also has the YAM repository. This is its IP address, and here are the two machines which we are primarily interested in. So this is machine 1, machine 2. So this machine will be issued, will be given a host name of test1.example.com. The second machine will be test2.example.com. The IP is right here, and the IP for this machine is right here. So now all I have to do is to boot all 3 machines, including this the switch here. It's a Cisco switch, and you don't need to focus much on the switch as long the traffic is permitted. Now I just need to verify on my switch if all interfaces are up. So I'll just double click. Here I am in a Cisco switch. So I'll do the show IP interface brief. all my interfaces are up, as you can see here, up, so I should have full connectivity. So I'll exit from there, and coming back to the first machine, which I need to configure. So I'll log in as root, and I'm actually using the CentOS version 7. So let's see. Okay, I'm using CentOS Linux release 7.1 core. So when configuring IP address, you might use ifconfig, but the ifconfig command, please stop using it because it's old, and I suggest you use the nmcli command, or you can use the IP command. In my case, I prefer to use nm2, which is a text user interface command line. So I'll simply say nm2, but before we start configuring, I need to see how many interfaces I have. So let me show you right here. These machines have 3 interfaces configured. So at the moment you are using EX0, EX1 and EX2 are not connected, so we will be using this for our network teaming. Same applies to second machine. I'm using EX0, which is connected to that switch, and then EX1 and 2 will be used in part 2 of the video when I demonstrate network teaming. So coming back to the console, so I'll say nmcli device. As you can see, EX0 is connected, and then Ethernet 1 and 2 not in use. So let's do the IPv4 configurations. So I'll say nm2, then I'll say edit a connection, which is the top part. Click enter. So I have EX0 already configured here, so I need to delete that EX0. So I scroll down, say delete. Now I need to say add. Scroll down to Ethernet, click enter. So I can leave that default name. You can change it if you want to. The device which I need to configure is EX0. Scroll down, change from automatic to manual. Scroll to show, then scroll down. On the under addresses, say add. Then I add my address, which is 192.168.15.10 on the 24 subnet. The gateway, you might leave it blank if you want to, but I'll configure one, which is 192.168.15.1. Scroll down, DNS, click add. Our DNS server address is 192.168.15.250. Proceed, go to name server. Our name server is same as DNS server, which is 192.168.15.250. Scroll down, click OK. Scroll down, click quit. Now I need to reload the network services, so that will be systemctl restart network. For me to check the IPv4 address, I can use the IP command, which is IP. I can say IP add or IP address, and I can grab the results and specifically look for inet, which is IPv4. So now I've got my IPv4 right there. The question is, let me clear the screen. Can I ping the central server, which is IPA server? So I'll say ping IPA server.example.com. .com. Yes, I can pick. As you can see, the IPA server is using that address. And please note that if you don't have a DNS server, you have to define your host in the etc. That is etc host. In my case, there is no other host that has been defined because I'm using a DNS server. So if you don't have a DNS server, you're gonna use define your host in here. So that will be, as you can see in this sample output, that's your IP and then the host name. So etc/host will resolve the IPs for you. So now we have our IPv4 configured on this machine. Then we need to configure the host name as well. So using the host name, you can use the command hostname ctl set hostname static. Our host name is test1.example.com. So if I do host name, as you can see, my host name has changed, and this static option is very important so that the changes you are making should stay permanent. If you forget to use the static, your changes will be lost after a reboot. So now we need to configure our YAML repository. So I should go into etc yam.repository, enter. With CentOS machine do come with pre-configured YAML repository, so I just have to delete all those. So I'll say okay, I've deleted everything. Now I need to configure my own, so I'll say I will call it CentOS.repo. Now please make sure that your repository have an extension of .repo. That is very important. This part here is not important. You can choose your own name, but the .repo, it's a must to use it. If you use a different extension, your YAML repository won't be configured correctly. Oops, I do apologize. I should say VI because Vim is not installed in this machine. So that will be VI CentOS.repo. So I press I to go into insert mode. Square brackets, CentOS, close, press enter. My name is, the name of the repository, I'm assigning it to CentOS repo. The base URL, that will be the address of the remote server that is saving the repository. That will be ftp : /IPA server .example.com /perp/CentOS. The GPG check, I should disable it because I'm using my own repository. then I should enable my repository. So these are the only 5 lines you need. So that will be the square brackets, you put in the name and close the square brackets. The name of the repository, you can give it any name you prefer. The base URL we were given, so you fill in that. GPG check, you say 0 because you are using your custom repository. Then you just say enable. So let's save and quit. Once you've done that, you just have to clean. So I'll say yum clean all. So it will clean all the yum repository cache. Now it's time to test if my repository is working. Therefore I'll say yum repo list. Yum repo list. So my repository is working, as you can see. It's loading. There we go. And let me install Vim. Yum install Vim. Then yes, it's installing. Okay, it's complete. So on this machine everything is complete. I can reboot to make sure that my changes are persistent. So I'll say reboot, exit from here. So whilst it's rebooting, let me go to the second machine and do the same. So I'll log in as root and assign the host name. So I can use the host hostname city, hostname ctl command, but I can do it quicker using the nmDOI. So I'll say nmDOI, scroll down to set hostname, press enter, remove the default name, and then assign your own hostname. That will be test2.example.com. Click OK, enter. Hostname has been assigned. Then I need to assign IPv4. Before I go there, I'll check my interfaces. So that will be nmCLI devices. Here are my devices. So I've got ETH0, ETH1 and ETH2. ETH0 is connected to the switch, as you can see. Then Ethernet 1 and 2, they are not in use. So I'll say nmDOI, enter, edit connection, enter. Then I need to delete this default one. So I'll say delete. Okay, then I say add. Scroll down to Ethernet. You can leave the default name assigned. Then scroll down to device, you say ETH0. Scroll down, change from automatic to manual because we are assigning a static IP. Scroll to show, scroll down, IP addresses, add. Our address is 192.168.15.20 on the 24 subnet. Scroll down to gateway. Our gateway is 192.168.15.1. The DNS server is also the 192.168.15.250. Same applies to the name server as well. and scroll down to OK. Then you scroll down to quit. We need to reload our network services, so that will be systemctl restart network. Then I need to confirm if my IPv4 has been configured correctly. As you can see, I do have an IPv4 assigned. Now can I ping the central server? That will be ping ipa server.example.com. Yes, I can ping, and as you can see, the IP address to the central server. Now can I ping my first test machine? That will be ping test1.example.com. Yes, I can ping. As you can see, test1.example.com is that IP address. Now I need to configure my YAM repository. Therefore, I go change my directory into etc yam.reposd, then delete what is pre-configured. So I delete everything. My directory is empty, so I say vi, call it CentOS.repo. Then I need to fill in the information. Okay, these are the 5 lines which we need as previously. So it's the square brackets. You put in the name which you want to put, and then close the brackets, the name of your repository. The most important is the base URL. So we are using the FTP remote FTP server, and then you disable the GPG check, and then you enable your repository. So let's save our changes. Clear the screen. So I need to clear the YAM cache. So that will be YAM clean all. Then reload my YAM repo list. So that will be YAM repo list. Okay, as you can see, I have progress. My YAM is configured. Now, do I have the vim command? No, I don't. So let's install one. So I'll say yam vim, yam install vim. Then yes. So it's installing. So while it's installing, I can close that. Come back to the first machine and see if my changes were permanent. So I'll log in as root. Okay, and I can tell from here before I check that my host name is permanent, as you can see here. So let's confirm host name permanent. How about my IPv4? everything is permanent. So we're done on this machine. Let's go to the second machine. It's still installing. It's done. So say clear, then I say reboot. Now whilst the second machine is rebooting, and it seems our work is we did our configuration very well. On the first machine we saw that the configurations were permanent, and instead of Red Hat, I'm using the CentOS machines, as you can see. So it's CentOS 7.1, which is also equivalent to Red Hat 7.1. So let me see if my machine is rebooted. So I'll right click and say console. It is rebooted. I'll say login as root. Okay, from here I can tell that my configurations were permanent. As you can see, test2, but let's confirm. So I'll say hostname. As you can see, it's successful. Let's check my IP. So I say IP, grab my net. Okay, voila. So this video, we have successfully completed our task, and I will see you in the second video where I will be demonstrating network teaming. I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope this has been informative. Please leave comments, requests. I will answer your comments or respond to your comments and requests on time. Feel free to drop a mail as well. And I would like to thank you. See you in the next video when I'll demonstrate network teaming. Goodbye.